All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. I feel like I couldn't hear anybody else earlier.
You're closer to the mic.
What's that?
You're closer to the mic.
Yeah. All right. So this is a piece of the prologue to the book that I am writing. The title of the book is Dane's Awakening. It was the still of the night, deep silence. He was asleep in a childlike dream of playing in the woods, running, jumping, and swinging from the thick rope swing behind the fields of corn that the old man had been harvesting the day before. A dream so vivid that he could smell the staunch air of the freshly plowed earth in his sleep. Dane's dream was interrupted. His eyes opened on a pillow ever so slowly, pitch black in the room. The faintest light of a nightlight replica of Darth Vader sliced through the darkness. Dane could barely hear a slight sound of footsteps touching the floor in a swift movement. He awoke. He slowly lifted the thin sheet off of his legs and moved off the bed slowly. He gently arose, and then he looked back at his best friend sleeping in the bed. He got up and moved forward, slowly and quietly out of the room into the hall. The hall walls were a wainscoting with the most beautiful glossy cherry wood stained color that reached Dane at about his eye level. At about 5 feet up from the chair molding to the ceiling, a soft, pale white wallpaper with a velvet embossed pattern covered the wall. He left the room and walked down the long hall towards the bathroom. The hall was dark with only a dim amber glow of a flickering hall light illuminating the darkness. A faint light lingered through a sliver of a crack in the door of the bathroom. The quiet was deafening. No one was awake in the house. The smell of a burnt-out fire hung in the air from the fire that had blazed earlier the night before in the fireplace. The fire was out, but little did he know the fire within him was an ember that was about to be inflamed in an arousal that he was nowhere near ready to comprehend. Little did Dane know what he was about to see. He crept slowly, silently, with each tiptoe down the hall, his bare feet cold, yet warm on the thick shag carpet creeping between his toes. His eyes peered, his eyes peered into the crack of the bathroom door. He couldn't see enough, but he did see just enough. He slowly touched the door to the bathroom, barely with the tip of his index finger, and he pushed, softly and quietly. The door seemed to weigh a ton, but Dane pushed just enough to peer into the bathroom. A slight glimpse of the dark skin of his legs, beautiful, strong, tanned legs, toned and slightly hairy. His eyes reached up, glanced up to his thighs, and then up to his firm, smooth ass. He was naked. Alone, the boy stood with his back facing the bathroom door, standing there silently at the toilet, unresponsive to Dane's presence. Dane's eyes moved slowly up his backside to the lower crease of his back, then focused on the crevice of his spine. His arms were cut and the muscles on his shoulder flinched. His neck was thick and his lower hairline was clean shaven. He had dark black hair, slightly long in the back and messy, yet fixed, feathered, and slightly enough to cover the lobes of his ears. The boy was unknowing of the watcher in his presence. He was urinating and staring at the ceiling. Dane's breathing became shallow. He concentrated on trying to breathe slowly, softly, and oh so quietly. Every breath was shallow, as to not startle the boy, to let him know that Dane was there. He watched. He glared. What was this feeling? What was this nervousness he was feeling in the pit of his stomach that made him quiver? Goosebumps began to bounce out of Dane's arms like sharp daggers piercing flesh. Dane began to sweat. His heart was beating so hard, loud, and so fast, so loud that he could hear it. Could the boy sense Dane's presence? Could he feel him watching as he kept turned away? The boy must know he was being watched, Dane thought. He gently tightened and flexed his right buttock's cheek ever so inconspicuously, as if to acknowledge that he knew someone was staring. Dane backed off the door and turned, but he wanted to see more. Then there was movement in the bathroom. Dane backed away quickly. Then he pierced back in for one more glance. The boy slightly turned towards the bathroom door, leaning in to flush. The ripples on his abdominal cavity caught the light slightly. It was just enough light to enhance his stomach muscles. They were so tanned, smooth and hairless, other than a small dark spot of chest hair in the center of his pecs. Dane's eyes moved down, further down, and followed the dark line of hair from his belly button, straight down to the very top of his pubic area. Dane could see the shaft. He could see the dark hair surrounding it. The boy then began to turn, and then he coupled the tip of his penis and gently held it to the left, almost as if he was hiding it away from Dane. Was he teasing? Did he know? Did he sense someone was watching him? He quickly turned to the door towards Dane. Dane blinked. The light went out in the bathroom. Dane was 10. The boy was 15. It was Dane's best friend's older brother.
Yeah.